What's up everyone, impaKt here. Today I'll be talking about one of the topics that you guys have requested the most so far, predictive targeting. So what exactly is this predictive targeting that I speak of? Well, it's the ability to hit your skill shots precisely, either to damage your opponents or to CC them, which is usually the case for supports. It's your ability to predict where your opponent is going to move towards, so thus allowing you to aim your skill shots in the right direction. It's especially difficult to do against champions with some sort of escape mechanism, but rather satisfying at the same time. Landing a hook on an Ezreal that just used Arcane Shift to dodge it in the first place isn't just flashy, it also makes you feel like you just achieved something great. As I'm talking about this, I'm actually playing a few examples of what I'm talking about in the background, but allow me to actually explain how this is done. There are a few variables that you have to take into account really, but I'll just try to make this as simple as I can. Every skill shot has a hitbox, just like every champion. For your ability to connect with your enemy, the hitboxes have to collide with one another. This is actually why there are people who are good Thresh players and don't do so well with Blitzcrank, for example. While Thresh's scythe is thinner, its hitbox actually appears to be wider than Blitzcrank's rocket grab. For that reason, it's actually easier to hit. Then you have the projectile speed. You need to take this into account as well. The faster the projectile is, the lesser time your opponent will have to escape. Let's use the Thresh and Blitz comparison again. If you cast Thresh's Death Sentence, since it has a longer animation, the hook will reach the target later than Blitz's hook. Therefore, your target will be able to move further away than if you're playing Blitz. You need to take these differences into account and adapt your aim accordingly. Your target's movement speed is also highly important. Hitting an Evelynn may sound easy, but if she uses her W and speeds up, then she'll be a lot harder to catch. You can't aim the same way against a target like that as you do against someone level 1 with no boots even. Otherwise, you'll miss the hook or that shiny Zenith blade. And finally, escapes and blinks. If your target has some sort of escape mechanism like Ezreal's Arcane Shift, Lee Sin's second Sonic Wave activation, Caitlyn's Net, or even Lucian's Relentless Pursuit, hitting him won't be so easy. Most of the times, the safest way to lock him down is by making him use his escape first and then going for the CC skill shot. However, if you're looking for that MadLife style hook, then you need to know the distances that each skill will make your target travel. You need to know how far your target will get with a flash and with those escape mechanisms, and aim to what you think will be his landing position. Doesn't sound too hard, but it's kinda hard to explain. The trick is to actually think as if you're your target. Say you're chasing an Ezreal. If you feel like he's going to try and escape, then you'll move towards the safest possible position, meaning you'll probably use Arcane Shift towards a friendly turret. If you feel like he's going to play aggressively, then he's probably going to use that same skill to get closer to you or to keep his distance and hit you some more. That's why I think the best situations to use this are actually when you've got your opponents on the run, when you know they'll try to escape, because the number of possible outcomes, or rather landing positions, is incredibly smaller than if your target is playing aggressively. Then there is also wishful thinking. Say you lose sight of your target and there are a few possible paths that you could have used to escape. If there is only one that you can reach, you can aim there and hope for the best, as long as you don't put yourself in harm's way because of it. Right now I'm actually running a clip from my stream. You can notice that Nidalee is actually in the fog of war when I attempt the hook, but if she had gone towards her blue buff, I would never have caught her because of the cougar form. However, I do have enough range to attempt the hook to the mid lane, just in case she went to the fastest path to safety, so that's what I go for, and I get somewhat lucky. In the second clip, I'm actually playing Leona. Now, Annie is indeed my target, but I do want to focus Ezreal down first. What I do here is I ult Annie and hope for Ezreal to actually use Arcane Shift to it, which actually happens and gives me the double stun. If Ezreal hadn't done that, I would have still been able to burst Annie down with the help of my AD carry, but it wouldn't be the most optimal scenario. In this final clip, we don't really have the enemies on the run. However, by flashing forwards, I'm going incredibly aggressive. My intention is to grab Orianna, who at the time was the enemy team's strongest carry. However, I know she has her flash up, but I also know that most carries, when faced with a similar situation, will play reactionary and flash away from the hook, even if it's not that harmful for them, so I account for it. I am further back so I can actually hit her post-flash. And this is pretty much the thought process that I use whenever I play something skill shot based. There are more variables involved and it does require some practice, but I hope this video helps you guys out. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to click the lantern, subscribe, like, comment, and feel free to follow me up on Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. I stream every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and I'll gladly answer all of your questions live. That's all for this video, guys, so I'll see you in a couple of days. Peace out.